Hello from Lviv, 1st of February. We're asking ourselves a question: what is the situation with coronavirus, especially in Ukraine, and what foreigners can do in case if they have flu symptoms, how can they get checked in Ukraine? And can you tell me about coronavirus? What is your impression in Ukraine? What's going on?
Well, so far we're here, and now it's the 1st of February.
Yes.
And there are no reported cases confirmed of coronavirus in Ukraine. So we have it good. It's like these are the good old days. There's no coronavirus here. But in the news, we can see, literally thousands of cases that are happening around the world. And so, if the virus is as transmissible, it's an epidemic. It's contagious, and if it's as bad as they say, sooner or later it will come to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, we're here now. You go out on the street and there's nobody wearing a mask. But if we were doing this same video 3 weeks later,
yes.
You might look at the street and see people wearing masks. That's the thing, is that it's impossible to predict the future right now.
How would you act if you would feel some flu symptoms?
Well, I'd cough, go first, and then obviously I would tell some friends, and they'd say, you should go to the clinic. Let me ask my doctor. I'll help take you there, which Ukrainians are very hospitable. They'll always help you get to where you need to be. So you'll end up telling them that, or you'll be served breakfast in bed for a week or two. And eventually you'll get to the hospital, probably in a day or so, or a few hours. And everything should be taken care of by then, when your Ukrainian friend helps you out.
And I feel pretty confident about, Ukrainian healthcare, in the sense that the professionals of Ukraine are really well educated. And so the technology is here, the education is here, there are professionals of every stripe forming an infrastructure. And so I have, confidence that the Ukrainian system has the ability to do some very advanced things in medicine. But I think that the services are advanced enough and they're available. Like if you are a foreigner coming in and, if you'll pay cash, they will certainly help you.
How would you go about it? Can you imagine, thanks to God you never had to use a doctor in Ukraine, but how would you go about if you needed medical assistance?
Well, I bet you that the first place I would go is to see the company doctor.
Okay, yes.
Because the employer that I work for now has, like the corporate doctor does rounds or comes visiting once a week. Anyway, the thing is that employees, if they feel any symptoms, they can go see the company doctor when they're in. And so that would probably be my first move, is go, because it's so convenient.
Yes.
So I would just go there, and then, if there was a real health problem, it would be referred onwards from that point, right?
Tell me about your position at work.
Well, it's literally chief software engineer and development team lead.
I think it's nice to have your experience and your background here in Ukraine on the site, sharing experience with local professionals.
Well, I've certainly been to a lot of places and I've done a lot of things. So, there's experience and yeah, I think that's part of what, what can make me valuable in different settings around here in Lviv.
Can you tell me about the strategy of your company to deal with this outbreak in case if it escalates?
Yeah, well, it's possible to do remote work across the internet, like digital nomads,
yes.
right? And to enable remote work, we already have what it takes. In other words, by way of using particular apps for meetings and by way of having cloud-based tools for software development, we're able to have our team members, go remote and work from home. And if the virus is bad, we might tell everyone, go home, self-isolate. You will be better off.
Yes.
Everyone will be better off if there's less person-to-person contact in the midst of an epidemic or a pandemic. That's the thing, is that to self-isolate is wise advice in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak.
Do you think the country will handle, does it have the capability, the strategy to handle any serious?
I realized that about 2 weeks ago that they formed a task force.
Okay.
And that was under the health ministry. And more recently, actually, Zelensky said, hey, we're going to make this task force be multi-ministry. In other words, so he wants to involve more like, defense and, other ministries to be prepared for the virus. And they've largely taken the right steps. The thing is that they, by now, have cut off air travel.
Yes.
Beginning February 3rd. Okay, so Monday. No more flights to China, and vice versa. So they're only going to be able to catch it if they find a traveler who has stopped at a different location on the way to Ukraine. But by and largely, I think, it may be a fortunate matter that Ukraine doesn't have so very much traffic back and forth with China, In other words, if we don't have so many visitors from China, then we are less exposed than places that have more business with China.
Can you tell me about your background? Because you have Asian blood.
Yeah, well, I'm an American originally, but with ancestry that is half Japanese.
Right now we have medical reform, where every Ukrainian has to be tied to his or her GP. They sign a contract, and this is a doctor that you see, the doctor that knows your medical history and that follows you. But if you do not have this contract, you can go to the reception, reception, and they will inform you what to do next. Usually the GP will tell you, if you do not have medical insurance, how you should execute the payment. Yes, I also recommend the best case scenario is to use the local, to ask for help, to contact the doctor, or to show you where to go, to take you. If you want to see a GP, they might get a little bit stressed out. If they see that you're speaking English, they might not know English, so it could be a little bit stressful for them. So having a local with you will be nice. So the question I have for Ricky is, do you feel confident in the Ukrainian medical system and the care?
Oh, very confident. After all, they have years of experience, and also there's many things that they can handle, whether it's complex or complicated. And the worst case scenario is it will get a referral to a different doctor that will probably be more specialized, just like in the US.
Okay, do you feel like Ukraine is aware of the situation, is preparing the healthcare system?
Yes. I think anyone in any general job, whether it's doctor, whether it's IT, whether it's whichever, everyone always pays attention to what they need to within their work. It's not that they're not paying attention. They have to. They know they have to be on top of things.
Okay, from what you see on television in Ukraine, people do not wear masks. We're pretty relaxed. And Boryspil airport, they are checking temperature, from what I read on the news, but in Lviv airport, they are not doing anything. There are no precautions. Nobody is being checked, people that are flying in. Also, we have changes in temperature. So yesterday it was very cold, it was freezing, snowing. Today it's pretty warm, like I could wear my fall jacket. So that actually causes us to have some flu-like symptoms because such drastic
seasonal change.
Okay, so there is no vaccine for coronavirus. There is not. What you can do to protect yourself is just to eat healthy, to avoid public places, limit your communication with people, especially if they have symptoms, and work out, exercise, especially cardio exercise. And I will tell you, in my observation, Ukrainians, we are a little bit like have like tied to more like in groups. We socially like tied, and I can tell you by my experience, if I will, I'm cool. I'm living by faith. Everything is cool. But when the panic kicks in, I will be really, really stupid. So yeah, this is how we are. Yes, I think we should try to be use our brain and live by faith, and not to give in to any. Yeah.
A good way to put it is, Ukrainians are very sociable people. They like to be in groups, like to get to know people in groups, and also whenever they make events or plans, it's always within groups. So the best way to put it is, just when some things happen, it gets a little nerve-wracking. That's all it does.
Yeah.
But
emotional and
yes.
Lose your
and that. But it's not a disadvantage. It's an advantage, because within the group, you have more brains. More brains equals more brain power, which means more ability to think of different things all at once.
And I think it's very nice when I see examples of people taking care of each other. For example, my friend taking his friend to the doctor to get him checked when he had symptoms. Of course, he cared for himself for masks, but it's nice when people take care of each other. And also, speaking about masks, they're all sold out. I just checked the pharmacy, but in general, people are really cool. They're just cool and relaxed in the country.
Yeah. Well, the country is always a great place for its scenery and its friendly, hospitable people. You might not find a 7-Eleven or a 7-Up or something from Lviv, but you'll have nice roosters and cock-a-doodle-doos all the time waking you up.
Thank you for good words, Ricky. I love the roosters. And what is cock-a-doodle?
Oh, what the rooster makes, cock-a-doodle-doo.
Oh, okay. Yes, I love those.